This is the first in a series of videos that I'm going to make on some of my favorite places in Dallas, Texas to do some photography, and mainly street photography at that. I really like the way this has these nice leading lines going through the whole image. It just makes sure and carry your eye through the whole thing, whether it's big or small or any size. This whole image setup right here was something that my fiance Mallory pointed out to me. We were down here a few weeks ago for a half day off that we both had. So we came down here, and Mallory's always been super interested in photography, so I was like, here's my camera, see what you can do with it, and kind of showed her a little bit of it. This shot right here, as you can tell, is not from this day. It is actually from the day that I was just talking about with her. She may have actually taken that one because we both photographed with my camera around the same time, so I have no idea who took that one. But it could have been either of us. This building I'm about to be facing is an old music venue called The Door. I've been to a few shows there and an emo night. It's one of those places that if you're involved in the local music scene, you definitely know what it is. You more than likely played a show there at one point or another. They are getting ready to demolish it to bring in something else there, and it's kind of a sad day because I mean there were so many good times there. It actually took me a little bit to actually take this picture because there kept on being cars just kind of going through. I mean, I was down here at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, so of course it's going to be super busy. All the photos you're actually seeing are being shot with my Fujifilm X Pro 3. It is probably one of my favorite cameras ever. There's something about the way that Fuji has done with their colors and their color science. It's amazing. That's all I can say about it. All these shots are with a 16mm 1.4. It's definitely a newer lens to me. I've had it before, but I definitely wanted to get it again because it kind of fit in my lens lineup a little bit better. Also have the 35mm 1.4 and the 56mm 1.2. Both of those lenses are amazing, and I shot with them later in the day, but for right now, I'm just trying to stick to the 26. There are some shots that are going to be in here that are with the 50, but they're not till probably... I'll let you know when they're going to be in here. It was a pretty windy day today, actually. I mean, you can see the trees moving and everything like that. Deep Ellum is probably one of my favorite places to come and photograph in Dallas. It's probably the reason I started off with this video first, just because you never know what you're gonna see. There's always eclectic people out. So this shot right here, I really liked how there was like the pink and red and then the green below it. It just flows really well and it pops, and just kind of like the muted tones were something that I was really drawn to, especially with the way that Fuji does colors. This next shot you're about to see is probably one of my favorite ones from the day, just because it's so simple and it was pure luck. So I turned to take a picture of this building, as I almost always do. And I just like the way that the blue cascaded from the sky all the way down to the car and just followed through the whole thing. It was really awesome. You'll probably notice that right here I'm checking to make sure I got it. I mean, I shot like 5 or 6 shots just in a short burst, and I just wanted to make sure I got that blue 4Runner in it as well. This right here is a pretty cool Mexican food restaurant that's here in downtown Dallas. I've never actually been there. I just know it's super loud and super pumped every time I pass by it. It's always a fun time happening here. This is still on just Main Street here in Dallas. Deep Ellum's not that big of an area. It's just kind of a weird little square in Dallas. Just a few blocks, really. People always get kind of weirded out whenever they see a guy walking around with a camera and a GoPro strapped to him. It makes it a little hard to do street photography sometimes. I really like the way this lady's about to point. I'm not sure what she was pointing at. She could have just been pointing at something across the street. She could have been pointing at someone famous. You never know. But I like the way the guy looked completely confused, like, what are you pointing at? Whoa, I have no idea what that little spin thing I did was. I was probably trying to figure out if I was going to go back the other way or cross the street right here. But I went somewhere completely different. As you can tell, it took me a little bit to figure out where I was going. I'm passing this place in Dallas right here called Pecan Lodge. It is a barbecue place. I've never had it. There's always a ridiculous line, like around the building for it. Makes me want to try it, but I don't want to wait in line that long. I didn't even want to wait in line that long for Franklin's in Austin. This little place is pretty cool. It's just a pie market right here. And I don't think I've ever actually had a pie from here, but maybe. I like the way this neon sign was just lit up. Because, it's fine pies for fine folk. And just the way the flowers are and just how it was a little bit more dark and moody. It just spoke to me. Now with like all the COVID restrictions starting to be lifted and everything like that, there's definitely way more people out. And this isn't near what it is usually in Deep Ellum on a Saturday. This is very light compared to normal stuff. See, people always act weird when they see a camera because he saw me just right before that with my camera. So you can see how windy it is. It's really starting to pick up right now. Pay attention to these guys. Deep Ellum is such an eclectic place. There's always something going on during the daytime. Like this little street market. They do it every Saturday from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's a great way to support like small local businesses with their art or whatever, they could be selling, like that dude selling mats of some kind. It's I like to support small businesses if I can. In Deep Ellum, there's always cool things though. There's tons of restaurants. There's probably one of my favorite fried chicken places. It's called Brick and Bones. If you like hot chicken, if you're in Dallas, go. That's all I'm gonna say. There's also tons of tattoo studios and tons of pizza places and a bunch of cool art on the walls and anywhere. I really wish these people weren't here because it would have been a really cool shot just straight down Main Street with no one on it. I was drawn to this just because I kind of like the way it looked. It was kind of muted and I wish I could have got the whole head in it, but I couldn't. There was a car behind me and even if I knelt down, it didn't look right. trying to decide if I'm gonna go back down the other way or what I'm doing right now. Like I said, pay attention to those guys earlier because here they are coming again, and there's actually a picture of them coming up. I like the way that the shorter guy was wearing a very dark shirt, like a black shirt, and then the guy on the right, the bigger one, was wearing a light shirt. The contrast is what got me. Just small guy, black shirt, big guy, white shirt. Also, there's a cool skull that's in between them. Oh yeah, this was whenever I swapped my 35mm lens. I pretty much shoot with it just wide open. I don't think I ever stop it down at all. It's always at 1.4. I mean, actually 95% of the time of anything I shoot is at 1.4. A lot of the stuff from the 16 though was from like 5.6. This guy right here is a street preacher. Also, I liked how he's under the glazed donut stand. I've definitely shot a few things under there. There's been a few people like on bikes or just standing there smoking cigarettes, and I've got the picture of it. It's all on my Instagram. There's always scooters and motorcycles and stuff like that just parked on the sidewalk in Deep Ellum. Anytime I see it, I always try to get pictures of it because it's just really cool seeing something parked up against a brick wall like that to me. I've always liked cars, and I've always liked motorcycles, and I've always been drawn to stuff like that. So this banner right here, it changes constantly. I've always had like 3 or 4 different shots of it with different things. As you see, I'm like scouting this right here. I pull up my camera and look. It just doesn't look right on the 35, so I shot it on the 56 later in the day. Also, there's a sleeping homeless person right there on a parking block, which that was from the hip. It's part of the reason it's so super overexposed is I'm just not used to shooting from the hip yet. I mean, I've only done it like 3 or 4 times. So there's this guy off down there in the distance that you see. I just like the way he was kind of bow-legged and just the way he's walking in general. And his hat. I wanted to get the whole body, but I only got the lower half. And just like the way the boots are and the water and the contrast and the concrete and that, it just works. This right here pretty much concludes the little small walk I did around Deep Ellum this day. I also usually try to photograph like whatever kind of street art I see like on the sides of buildings or signs. I don't know, I just have a thing for signs. I actually have probably taken enough photos of signs in the Deep Ellum area. I can make a small coffee table book. So this is it. Please like and subscribe and share and give me feedback. I mean, this is my first video. Have a good day.